1,633 lines of code. That's what I dragged into the trash last month after one migration on a live agent. If you're running an agent that talks to Gmail, a CRM, a calendar, and 2 other tools, you already know the tax. Every vendor changes an endpoint, and your weekend is gone. I'll show you the exact before and after file tree, the config that replaced 6 handwritten modules, and the honest trade-offs I hit in production. Most MCP takes are hype cycles. I ship agents daily for paying clients on my own home server. Let's start with the number nobody in the MCP debate is measuring. Here's the setup so the numbers mean something. We run an agent stack for a small ops team. One agent lives between Gmail and Telegram, triages inbound mail, pulls context from a Notion knowledge base, checks the calendar, drops attachments into Drive, and logs everything into a SQLite ledger. 6 external tools. It's been in production for months. Boring, reliable, expensive to maintain. Before the migration, the integration layer was 1,847 lines of Python spread across 6 modules. Gmail was the fattest at 420 tiv lines because Gmail Auth is Gmail Auth. Telegram was 198. Notion was 340 because their pagination and block model is a small novel. Calendar was 221. Drive was 402. SQLite was 274. On top of those, another 214 lines of orchestration that decided which tool to call when. Total maintained surface area, roughly 2,061 lines, and every single one of them was mine to fix when a vendor shipped a breaking change. And they do ship breaking changes. In one quarter last year, we ate 3 of them. Gmail deprecated a scope. Notion renamed a block property. Google Calendar tightened a rate limit and started returning a new error code that our retry logic didn't recognize. Each one was a half day to a full day. Nobody paid us extra to fix any of it. That is the tax people don't put in the ROI slides. Now the after. Same agent, same 6 tools, same behavior from the user's perspective. The integration layer is one file, MCP occupied to config.json. About 40 lines, 6 blocks, 1 per server. The orchestration is 214 lines of Python that opens an MCP client, lists the available tools, and lets the model call them by name. That's it. The 1,847 lines of handwritten glue are gone. Deleted. In Git. You can go look. Why does the deletion happen? Because an MCP server ships 3 things you use to write yourself. It ships the tool schema, so the model knows what arguments each function takes without you handwriting a JSON blob. It ships the auth handling, so all auth flows, token refresh, and scope management live inside the server, not in your codebase. And it ships the retry and error semantics, so when Gmail returns a 429, the server backs off, and you don't see it. Every one of those was code I owned before. Now it's code somebody else owns, and if they break it, I swap servers instead of rewriting a module. I want to be honest about what this costs, because the MCP marketing is not. First cost, latency. Every tool call now goes through a local MCP server process, which adds roughly 600 milliseconds per call in my setup. For a background triage agent, nobody notices. For an interactive chat interface, users notice. If your agent is user-facing and latency sensitive, benchmark before you migrate. Second cost, you inherit somebody else's bugs. The Notion MCP server I was using had a broken handler for nested databases. It returned an empty list instead of throwing. My agent silently missed context for 2 days before I caught it in the logs. I ended up patching the server locally and pinning that version, so the maintenance didn't go to 0. It went from 6 modules I owned to 1 patch I own, plus 5 servers I trust. That's still a huge win, but it's not 0. Third cost, the ecosystem is young. Some vendors have first-party MCP servers, most don't. For anything without an official server, you're picking a community one and reading the code before you trust it in production. I'd say for maybe a third of the tools a small business actually uses, you're going to hit a gap and have to either write the server yourself or wait. So here's the decision rule I now give clients. If your agent talks to one or two external tools, don't migrate. The raw API code is small, you already own it, and the MCP tax isn't worth paying. If it talks to three or more, the math flips fast. You save more code than you write, and every future breaking change from a vendor stops being your problem. On our stack, the payback was inside the first month. We had 2 vendor changes in the 4 weeks after the migration. Before, that would have been a day of work each. After, one was handled by the server maintainer inside 48 hours, and I did nothing, and the other required me to bump a version number in the config. Total time spent, about 11 minutes. That's the number that actually matters for a small team. Not lines of code, but weekends you get back. If you're building or running an agent for a real business right now, the play is simple. Count your integrations. If it's 3 or more, plan the migration. Start with the tool that has the most reliable MCP server. Keep your raw API code as a fallback for one release cycle, and measure latency on your critical paths before you rip the old code out. That's the playbook we use on every client rebuild. This is exactly the kind of rebuild we do end-to-end for small teams at BizflowAI.io. Go see the actual solutions we ship for clients, not demos. If you want more breakdowns like this one, hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next agent teardown lands in your feed. And if you've got an agent or a workflow that's eating your week, book a free 30-minute discovery call at BizflowAI.io and we'll map out what to automate first.